And we are live. There it is. Good evening, crypto warriors, and welcome back to Gem into Crypto, episode 445. Today is Monday, August 5th, and I'm King. And we are here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto today with a lot of good stories. A couple of I told you so's, of course, the U.S. Federal Reserve launching payment system. Peter Schiff slams CNBC for giving Bitcoin more airtime than gold. New Iranian law says government would not recognize crypto-related trade. Judge to chase bank buying crypto on credit, not necessarily a cash advance. And last but not least, meet the ICO pumper who makes his living manipulating crypto markets. But first, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at this Bitcoin price analysis, if it will come up on my laptop. I had it up. It's going back down. But as you saw, price of cryptos everywhere today. Bitcoin's reaching this all-time high of the year at 11,737. As you see here at the top of the screen, some estimates have it up as high as 7% on the day. You got Ethereum coming in at $233. Ripple at 32 cents. Ripple's making its a 0.8% gain today, which is still better than nothing. A lot of altcoins suffered today. Litecoin at $98, Bcash at $3.50, EOS at $4.51, and Stellar Lumens, since it's here, at 0.08 cent. Again, Stellar Lumens still quite attractive buy to me. 0.08 cent. I like that. It's still higher than it has been traditionally, but of course it likes to follow Ripple. Right now, not a lot of altcoins are doing any pumps because the Bitcoin's dominance is back up to 70%. Haven't seen or heard those numbers in a very long time. So when Bitcoin's dominance goes up that high, you don't see as much movement from the altcoins. And traditionally, of course, when Bitcoin pumps, altcoins goes down. So the fact that they're still hanging in the fight is a good thing to see. And there was another little chart on here I was looking for. I'm not sure what happened to it, but all good. Couple quick shout outs. What's going on? Tessa Hall. Hello. Jizzy Mac. D. Chiron. Ronan Bushido Style. Trek. What's going on? PFC Wells. Andre Durden. Evan. Not long time no see. There we go. So yes, Bitcoin's on a great trajectory today. Love to see this. Haven't seen it in a while. Almost hitting 12,000 again, people. We talked about this back in 2017 when it happened. I'm telling you it's going to happen again if it hits. When you start hitting 12, 13,000 to 15,000, specifically around 14 to 15,000, you remember it doesn't take as much money, the percentage swing for the price to go up $1,000 is less than what it had been. If it's at $10,000 and it goes up $1,000, that was a 10% gain, right? But if it's already at 13,000, 14,000, 15,000, you're talking about going up another $1,000, another $500, another $300. Those be gradually decreased from 5% to 3% to 2% swings. So that's when you start seeing that price blink every day. When you see it, some days it's at 12,000, some days it's at 14,000, some days it's at 15,500, and then it goes back to 11,000. Those percentage swings are a lot less once it starts getting higher in the price. So make sure you take note of that. If you're an active trader or if you're just investing, wherever you're doing in the market, take note of that, because once it does surpass that 12 to 13,000 range, goes into the 15,000, and it starts blinking, that's when we're going to start seeing services unable to be used. Everything's going to go under maintenance again. Those Coinbases, the Geminis, the Bittrex, you won't be able to trade unless you already have some pre-established accounts or pre-established limits. They're basically going to make it so that if you're not one of those people with higher limits already or a lot of trading activity, they're basically going to freeze you out of your account to make it easier on their support team for other accounts that they deem a little bit more valuable. So make sure you're paying attention to that. But the top story of the day. Wow, craziness. Do you see this headline? United States Federal Reserve is launching a payment system. And of course, here it says the crypto bulls are non-plus. People, it is happening super fast. I saw an article today that basically says Facebook Libra stablecoin, or Facebook Libra coin basically pushed the Bitcoin market 3 years ahead of pace. I disagree with that article. I'm not covering it, but it's worth a mention because while I don't think it pushed it 3 years above pace, I do think Facebook's Litecoin put Bitcoin back on pace, back on track. Because if you remember, this was 2017 all over again. We already hit the $20,000 all-time high. Of course, you know, that was a little overbought at the time. We saw that retrace, the whole bear market and everything. But Bitcoin was on the right trajectory. Since 2017, with Bitcoin's all-time high, the technology itself has only improved. The industry has only improved. And ways to use it has only improved. So I do think Facebook Litecoin has shined the light back onto Bitcoin since they attacked it so hard. And of course, it made everybody aware of cryptocurrency. Again, that the fact that it's still alive. But the United States Federal Reserve Board is planning to release a real-time payments and settlement service in order to boost the payments infrastructure in the country. I said all that previously to say we need to give a hand to Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, come on. They did what Bitcoin could not do, and that's to force the government's hand. A press release published on August 5th reads that the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System has requested that Federal Reserve banks develop a new interbank real-time settlement service to support faster payments in the United States. The payment system is called FedNow, hilarious, and will purportedly launch in 2023 or 2024. By launching FedNow, the firm aims to modernize the country's payment system with a real-time service that can transfer funds around the clock and on weekends and weekdays. The service will purportedly be available to both businesses and the general public. Instead of launching this, why doesn't the Federal Reserve just come out and launch an apology letter, launch a press release and marketing run of apologies? There's so many ways to break down this article. I know we don't have all day, so I'm only going to spend a few minutes on it. But first, the biggest thing of everything, there's already a system to ensure Americans and people globally can receive money around the clock 24/7, nights and weekends when they want. And that's called Bitcoin and the Bitcoin blockchain. So just like Apple Pay, Google Pay, all these other new people who have come, all these new coins, Facebook's Libra coin, whatever stable coin you can think of at the top of your head, they are trying to copycat Bitcoin. It's crazy. And what's even crazier is that we're paying them with our tax money to create a system that we already have created. We are literally paying the federal government to work with a private company, the Federal Reserve, who's also getting taxpayer money, to create a system we already have with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin blockchain. I mean, this is amazing, people. You cannot make this up. The Fed believes that such a system will allow consumers to move to more flexibly manage their money and make time-sensitive payments, and is requesting comment on the possible design and functionality of new services. Commenting on the issue, Federal Reserve Board Governor Lael Brainard said, quote, "Everyone deserves the same ability to make and receive payments immediately and securely, and every bank deserves the same opportunity to offer that service to its community. FedNow will permit banks of every size and every community across the country to provide real-time payments to their customers." Again, we already have this. And again, to make this even crazier, they're saying they're not going to launch theirs until 2023 or 2024, which means for normal people who are following the rules and being good little Ned Flanders, a diddly gang, you won't be able to make faster payments into the year 2023 or 2024, even though you can do it right now. I mean, forget Bitcoin and blockchain. Let's say you're scared of cryptocurrency. You can do that right now with Cash App. You can do that right now with Venmo. Again, these systems are already out there. So not only is the Federal Reserve basically admitting that they've been cheating people and stealing from people and they're behind on this, and all banks are behind on this. Not only are they behind, not only have they been stealing from you, and I mean, they're stealing from us twice, people. They're stealing from us from the banks, taxing us all types of fees, and then they're stealing from us from taking our tax money. So they're literally stealing from us twice and then saying, hey, we have this novel new idea of a payment system that we already know exists with Bitcoin's blockchain or any other cryptocurrency out there. I mean, Dogecoin could do this job, essentially. Bitbean and Redcoin, which we talk about on here all the time, could do this job. Not only are we not going to use these things that are already out that can do the job and are secure, we're going to wait until 2023, 4 years after the Bitcoin, or 4 years, which would be 3 to 4 years after the Bitcoin halving, when literally if you don't have any Bitcoin, it's going to be very difficult to obtain. Then we're going to launch this system. My only question to the Federal Reserve, because I did see Of course, two types of comments across the aisle. You have the people who are sounding like I am so far, like, oh, wow, like you're super late to the party and we don't want to use you. Then, of course, you have the Ned Flanders who are saying, hey, this is great that the Federal Reserve is starting to modernize the way they do things. They're coming into the, the new technological age, whatever. Let's say we go along with that happy-go-lucky Ned Flanders crowd. We're going to say anything to impress the government, right? Fine, I'm with you on that. My next question is, with this new system, will we be able to audit the Federal Reserve, which we still have not done yet? No one knows how much money the Federal Reserve has. Because I know when I use the Bitcoin's blockchain, we can go online and we can basically take a look and see how much Bitcoin's out there, right? Where it's gone, where it's been, how much has been created. At the very least, we know how much has been created. Now, we know anywhere from 2 to 4 million of what the created Bitcoins out there have already been lost, stolen, burned, destroyed, or whatever, but we have an idea of what's out there. With this Federal Reserve Fed Now system, will we be able to see how much fiat currency is out there? That is my question. I want to know if this system is going to allow us to see everything is doing behind closed doors. Will we have that transparency? You and I both know the answer to that, but this is a question that should be raised. And secondly, it's centralized. Like, who's going to control it? Like, who is going to control this new payment system, which is basically going to be a cryptocurrency system they're trying to implement using their blockchain or their distributed ledger technology? But who's going to control it? I noticed they used the word secure here. Lael Brainard said everyone deserves the same ability to make and receive payments immediately and securely. To my knowledge, banks have been getting cracked left and right. I mean, it might as well be back in the 40s the way banks are getting robbed these days, except it's not happening physically with guns. It's happening with a laptop and some wires. But we just saw what happened with Equifax. We just saw what happened to Capital One, right? I mean, they are getting hacked left and right. They can't keep your data safe. They can't keep your money safe. So again, why would we use this Fed Now system that claims to be secure when we already know banks aren't secure because they don't have good cybersecurity? When we, again, can just use the Bitcoin blockchain, which to this day, Bronx Bomber here, to this day, it has still not been hacked. I mean, if Bitcoin's blockchain was a boxer, whether you like it or not, it's Floyd Money Mayweather, people. He's 50-0. He's undefeated, or 49-0 if you don't want to count the Conor McGregor. Regardless, he's accepted all the challengers and he is undefeated. I don't care if he fought somebody old or young. Bitcoin's blockchain is what, 10 years old? Undefeated. All right? It has not lost. It has not been hacked. So again, when I see all these new technological advances, it's just showing me that there is corruption in the government. Because why are you trying to create something new that won't launch until 5 years from now when we already have things out that work perfectly for the mission you have set up here? And of course, the answer is because they can't control it and they want the money themselves. So we know how that goes. But let's go to the chat room. I see the chat box. I see a lot of people coming in. It is lit up. I love seeing this. What's going on, Antonio from the UK? Tri City, New York, 123. Allison Thompson, Christopher Ladd, Cool Works. Good evening from Atlanta. Fool with money. Hello. Alec G, what's going on? D. Chiron said, I wonder if Congress questions the Fed as they did Facebook. LOL. Not likely. Exactly. So Fed wants to do a Fed Now payments plan. I want to see Congress and the Senate sit them down too. Why is this taking you all so long? Why does Bitcoin blockchain exist almost for 10 years now and you guys are behind the ball? Why does Zelle have instant payment transfers to Bank of America? Why does Cash App have these instant transfers? Why does everyone else has instant transfers but you? Richard Terween, what's going on from Australia? Good morning. I managed to make it to class. How are you doing? We are doing well. Yes, it's called Fed Now because once it's released, they're going to tell you have to use it right now, I bet. Jizzy Max said, coin that can be inflated at a whim. Those already exist. Exactly. We call those crap coins. The U.S. government had to make a pivot. Fool money said. Exactly. Again, I want to highlight that article again. I don't agree with that Facebook sped Bitcoin up 3 years because if anything, I think all of 2018, the regulators slowed Bitcoin down by 2 years. So again, if anything, we're back right where we should be. But I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, people love him or hate him. He did what, and this is the beauty about America and your private citizens, right? Private businesses. It influences and increases it wants competition. It makes for more competition. And in this case, it just made our government step up to the plate, or our government, aka the Federal Reserve, which again is a private entity. Tessa Hall said, trying to copycat? No, they are copycatting. They definitely are copycatting. Jason Smith, what's going on? Jason Smith said, they may not understand the system's owners are who we are. Don't trust them. Of course, Kashta, long time no see. Kashta Tariq says, Bitcoin does not work as a RTGS. What do you mean by that? Explain that in the comments, please. Kashta. Wire Spark said, I wonder if Fed now will be printed out of thin air. Yes, they still haven't had the original idea. Yeah, this is crazy, people. Yeah, basically 5 more years they're gonna have it. Kasha Tariq said that's payment, not settlement in real time with Venmo PayPal. No, that's true. You're right. Yeah, that is payment, and the same with Bitcoin. I know that, but that's more the technical side of things. And so what he's basically saying is just because Venmo and all these people can do payments, they're not actually doing settlements. But regardless, the traditional way of settling things is antiquated already. I mean, they're not using the technology we have in front of them to settle things. So I get what you're saying. Right. It's not a automatic or a quick settlement, but at the same time, it's still a better way of doing things than what the Federal Reserve is using right now. All right. But yeah, so it's crazy. A lot going on with this. Kasha also said the Fed had 3 years of committees for this. Companies were in on it. The negative interest rates helped Bitcoin. Right. This whole thing going on with China and the United States right now. China basically devaluing its yuan, as lowest as it's been in 2008. That's a big deal. And yeah, you're saying the Fed had 3 years committees on it. I mean, how much time do you need to talk and plan about something? Just launch it. I mean, 3 years. Yeah, they waited 3 years, and Mark Zuckerberg said, okay, we can do that in a year or two, and he did it. So clearly their way of doing things did not work. P-Man Van said, my bank just got hacked. 2.9 million people. Yes, this is crazy, people. But again, it's good news for Bitcoin. This is what we call those base hits. In fact, this isn't a base hit. This is a double. This might even be a triple. We are about to round these bases and come home the right way. And again, if you want to see it on that article on Cointelegraph, they have the actual link to the Federal Reserve press release document, Federal Reserve actions to support interbank settlement of faster payments. And speaking of Kashta, I mean, this is what Ripple is actually working on. And I thought this is what Ripple would be doing, working with the banks. But it looks like, again, the U.S. has caught up and they want to push out all other private entities. They said the only private entity we work with is the Federal Reserve. And it looks like they're going to be moving forward. So if you want to read this press release in detail, they have people you can contact. You know, I'm not going to say I will, but I may actually contact someone on this list to see if we can get an interview with somebody from the Federal Reserve to see what they can say about all of this. I mean, I just literally want to know why they don't want to use Bitcoins and Bitcoin blockchain. So we'll see. But in other news, Peter Schiff is back in the news as he slams CNBC for giving Bitcoin more airtime than gold. That is right. Peter Schiff, longtime gold bug, who has, of course, said all types of negative things about Bitcoin. He's come around a little bit, but not much. He's in the news today as Bitcoin has pushed itself up, basically saying speculators are buying Bitcoin to speculate. That's what he basically says. In a tweet today, the veteran gold bug and well-known Bitcoin naysayer claimed that the current events impacting the Chinese economy did not cause fresh interest in Bitcoin. What? He disagrees with you, Kashta. He said the Chinese aren't buying Bitcoin as a safe haven. Speculators are buying Bitcoin, betting that the Chinese will buy it as a safe haven, he wrote. As Cointelegraph reported, Bitcoin USD prices shot up past 24 hours. Basically, people saying it's a Chinese yuan. He also framed his remarks as an attack on CNBC, which he claims spent a disproportionate amount of time on Bitcoin's movements at the expense of assets such as gold. He's quoted as saying CNBC is trying its best to dupe its audience into buying Bitcoin. Despite gold being a much larger market, CNBC devotes far more airtime to Bitcoin, he tweeted. All right, first of all, Peter Schiff, you're smart enough to know it's not about how big the market is or the volume of the market. It's about how fast that market is moving, the percentage swing. So yes, if you have something like Bitcoin or any other thing, it could be marbles, it could be cheese, or in the case a couple of years ago when Oscar Mayer had the bacon coin, right? If you have an asset that's moving 30% in 30 days, 10% in 30 days. All right, let's talk about the traditional market. If you have an asset that's moving 5% in 30 days, if you have an asset that's moving 5 to 10% in a year, then it's all eyes on that asset. So for him to say just because gold has a bigger audience, you should have more airtime, that makes no sense, because gold is pretty stagnant. People aren't about to lose or make a life savings on gold overnight, whereas in Bitcoin is happening again. Some people are starting to see these highs and lows overnight, or in this case within 30 days. Another thing a commenter actually of this article pointed out, let's see if I can find it. I cannot find it right here at the top. I can't find it, but basically a commenter pointed out that how in the world could speculators boost Bitcoin or pump Bitcoin to this point where it's at right now. And if that's true, where this is speculators pumping Bitcoin, then that should scare them even more, because that means there's no retail buyers, there's no institutional investors, there's no big governments. It's all speculators, right? So you're saying a tiny small market of speculators is pumping the market this much. Again, whether it's speculators, whether it's because of the Chinese yuan, the U.S. trade talks, or whatever is going on, there is still a very few amount of people that know about Bitcoin. So for the price to pump the way it's pumping with those few amount of people, then that means when more people get into it or more people find out about it and the markets continue to go crazy, we may see the same possible trend. Now, one thing I will say is he did make a point by saying CNBC is trying to dupe its audience into buying Bitcoin, because also, if you do remember, CNBC is a contraindicator of all things crypto. Basically, they tell you to buy things when you should be selling. They told people to buy Bitcoin when it was at like 19,500. They told people to buy Ripple at like $3 or something. They told people to buy Litecoin at $300 and something dollars. So yes, CNBC does have a history of duping its audience, which is why him saying that actually scares me right now, as this little small pump is going on to 11,700, and CNBC is basically changing their entire programming to match that. Of course, they want to catch that trend and all those eyes as it goes viral. But again, CNBC has traditionally been the same people to call out coins and things in the crypto space as it goes down. Yeah, here's the quote I was looking for. This trader Josh Rager responded. He said, because speculators can push the price of an asset up by 30% in 1 week, right? Exactly. I mean, to be a traditional investor in gold for so long, to be any type of investor to look at markets and money for so long, and to keep blaming speculators for everything still at this point is a little bit ridiculous. Speculators, for the most part, don't have the type of money needed to boost an entire market by 30%, even a market as small as Bitcoin. So that was kind of a foolish statement. Of course, we know he makes many foolish statements, but that was definitely a foolish statement on Peter Schiff on his part. Let's see. Richard Tareem said, love the energy today. Oh, thank you. Nailing the Fed, hold them accountable. You got the receipts. I mean, I wish we could hold them accountable. It's crazy. It's a private company that is getting away with robbery in the United States. Andre Durden said the U.S. just added China to the currency manipulator list. Really? Oh, it's about to go down there. It is about to go down. Yeah, Kasha, that's why I know you showed up today. A few people are pointing out. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on a serious note. Is this the end of Ripple? When it comes to things like Fed now, will this be the end of Ripple? I am curious to hear that from you as well, because I don't know. I mean, Ripple had been on a good trajectory. One thing we always said at this show, which we've been saying since 2016, so technically it's about the right time. We said you can make money on Ripple trading the next few years. We have said that many times. Even to this day, I still believe it. But things like Fed now, that is cutting into Ripple's market share. And now they're not going against another company like Swift. They're going against the United States government and their private friend, the Federal Reserve. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out in the end. Jizzy Max said, Peter trolls Bitcoin to sell his gold business. He's stacking sats too. Oh, listen, Peter Schiff's on TV. All right. I've been in Hollywood long enough to know, if they're on TV, you should only take everything they say with a grain of salt. I don't care who they are, people. If they're on TV, the point of TV is a business. It's to sell, get more eyes watching us. All right. So Peter Schiff isn't a dummy. He's been on TV for years now. I wouldn't doubt if he has a few million in crypto at this point. But again, his brand is gold. His brand is in crypto. So why not be that guy to strike, to keep striking the fire and making some headlines, right? It works. Kasha said Ripple helped design the RTGS plans. To make it work requires a bridge currency like Ripple and interoperability like rules ISO 2022 and hashtag, or that's not a hashtag, but pound ILP. Okay, I got you. What is my favorite project besides Bitcoin? Ronan Bushido style asks. Right now, of course, we always give away the free crypto coin here. We do like them because of the educational piece and the privacy piece. But in general, I love privacy coins, Zcash, Monero again. Want to see what happens with those. I like a lot of smaller coins too. I like some of the dumpster dive ones. I like some of the ones that have the communities behind them. I'm not going to name too many right now, but all in all, of course, Litecoin. I love Litecoin as well. I like what they're doing to the Lightning Network. Whether you like Litecoin or not, whether you think it should be here or not, with their Lightning Network, I think that's going to be an integral part of payments moving forward. So I like what they're doing as well. All right, Iran is back in the news. We've seen in the last few weeks talking about what's allowed and not allowed when it comes to cryptocurrency. But now this new Iranian law is saying the government will not recognize crypto-related trade. And to me, this is absolutely crazy unless they received a tap on the shoulder. Because Iran, who's being sanctioned by the US at various times, who's been sanctioned by other countries at various times, crypto actually benefits them. This is a country where cryptocurrency benefits them. Now, the only thing I could possibly think of off the top of my head why they wouldn't want it again is because either they got a tap on the shoulder from the US saying, hey, if you guys legalize this, we're definitely coming down even harder on you, or because it actually affects some of their internal trading or internal things that they have, like oil and things as such, where they say, hey, oil, gold, natural resources and materials are still more valuable than crypto. We don't want crypto disrupting this market, so we're not going to recognize it. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. But regardless, the Iranian government has instituted a new law that does not accept crypto as legal tender or recognize domestic transactions carried out with cryptocurrencies. On August 4th, the cabinet of Iran ratified and released a new bill saying that the government will not recognize any domestic trading activity involving cryptos, Iranian news agency Press TV reported. Per the report, the new bill says that the government and the banking system will not view digital coins as legal tender, and Iran's central bank will not guarantee their value. And again, this follows on the heels of the deputy governor of Iran's central bank, who in July announced that buying and selling cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin was illegal. Now, with the exception of that illegal part, and you want to note that mining is still allowed. Basically, you have to get permits and regulations, same in the US almost, i.e. pay the government and they'll tell you where you can go mine at. Mining still allowed. Bitcoin is kind of going back and forth as far as buying and selling it being illegal, but right now they're saying it's still illegal as they did in July. And now they're saying they're not even recognizing any cryptocurrencies. I actually think this is a good thing for Iran, because if they were to come out in full support of cryptocurrencies, as I just stated a moment ago, I think the US will come down heavy on them. So instead, they're coming out publicly saying, hey, this is legal. We don't support it. We don't allow it. However, if they keep having to make these announcements, I mean, they're making these announcements every few weeks now. They just made one a week or so ago about it being illegal. Now they're making this. They did the mining announcement. If they're making these announcements, that means people are actually using it in Iran. All right? That's a good thing. People are actually using it. So if anything, they're just trying to curb the publicity behind people using it, or maybe even curb the amount of people using it. But at the end of the day, people are using it, which is why they're coming out banning it. This is good news for crypto. Again, I'll take this as a base hit, folks. Kasha said, in other words, convert that Bitcoin to Iran currency before the USC intranation. Yeah, basically, exactly. They just okayed crypto mining. Right. So yeah, crypto mining is good. You can't buy or sell it though once you get it. So I'm assuming that mining goes to the government in some form, which, to be fair, in Iran, in the Middle East in general, you got to remember, these are kings that rule over there. So yes, I'm not about to go back and forth. They do and can make those type of decisions. And for what I've witnessed personally when I was in the Middle East, going to, again, I've been to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, a few other countries I've bounced around. The citizens there, regardless of what the Western media might tell you, they're okay with their, I won't say all of them, but many of them, and in most times, the majority of them are okay with whatever decisions handed down to them. So I can see a lot of them saying, all right, that's what the king says, that's what the government says, that if that's what the royal family wants, that's how we're going to follow this and we're going to go about this. So I don't know, for their country, this might, again, it might work for them eternally, as I think this is just an external message they're throwing out there to kind of throw the U.S. off. But we'll see, right? All right, another big story. Judge to Chase. Buying crypto on credit, not necessarily a cash advance. Wow. Shout out to a New York judge. Oh my goodness. Again, it almost took a decade for one of them to have some sense about them. And not only that, this story is also setting precedent to another story that we kind of a glimpse that might came out. Some people saw it, but Apple's coming out with a new credit card, and they already said in their writing that cryptocurrency purchases would not be allowed or would be considered a cash advance, which basically carries a higher fee and rate structure to it. But the Southern District of New York Judge Catherine Pope Fila, I don't even want to mispronounce her name because she did such a great job. Speaking of which, this should be a woman in this photo. Come on, Cointelegraph. You got good artists, but this judge's name is Catherine, unless it's a dude. Has ruled that purchasing cryptocurrency with a Chase Bank credit card does not necessarily count as a cash advance as per Chase's contract. According to an opinion and order document dated August 1st, Judge Fela has denied Chase's motion to dismiss a number of plaintiffs' complaints, which center on the bank charging a user cash advance fees for buying cryptocurrency with a Chase credit card. So we talked about this story before. It's basically like a class action going against Chase. As you can see here, the plaintiffs are Brady Tucker, Ryan Hilton, and Stanton Smith, who had bought a class action suit against banking giant Chase. And they basically said that, hey, Chase had been charging us outrageous fees and charging us more money for buying crypto, saying it was a cash advance, even though the state of New York and the United States as a whole doesn't even recognize crypto as being cash or legal tender yet. And it looks like in this document, this claim, indeed, the entirety of the plaintiff's suite, and this is Judge Fela summarizing this, saying, is built on an argument that acquisitions of cryptocurrency cannot be classified as cash advances within the meanings of the contracts. Chase disagrees, claiming that cryptocurrency acquisitions are cash-like transactions pursuant to the contracts and thus cash advances. The parties' dispute thus boils down to the difference of opinion concerning the proper interpretation of the term cash-like transaction. Again, this case is very important because it will set precedent when it comes to regulations. Again, we just saw Apple come out today with their credit card. I'm sure they put that out today because they saw this Chase and this whole court proceeding going on. But Apple already came out saying, hey, if you do it with our card, it's cash advance, all right? But this judge is saying no. The reason that a number of Chase's dismissal motions have not gone through is because Judge Fowler believes that the plaintiffs have provided a reasonable interpretation of the term cash-like transaction in the context of Chase's contract. So the judge right now isn't saying that Chase is wrong, isn't saying the plaintiffs are right. They're just saying that the plaintiffs did provide a reasonable interpretation of the term cash-like by saying, as you see here, things like checks, money orders, wire transfers, and notably not cryptocurrency aren't legally recognized claims on cash. So they're saying the defendants, on the other hand, believe that the term cash-like transactions applies to any means of payment, cryptocurrency based on otherwise. Again, that's Chase saying that. But the judge is saying that it's irrelevant whether Chase's interpretation of cash-like transactions is more reasonable than the plaintiffs, because plaintiffs have identified a reasonable interpretation of cash-like interpretation. So again, a lot of word soup, but the bottom line is saying that the judge is agreeing. The judge is basically saying the whole world has been saying no, crypto isn't real. Now Chase is trying to flip the switch, saying, oh, well, now it's real and it's cash-like as long as they can get money. This goes back to the argument we always make. So what if I start selling marbles? No one's going to care, right? If I start selling marbles right now to one person, no one's going to care. But all of a sudden, if for whatever reason people want to buy my marbles and 1 billion people line up in line to buy my marbles and those things shoot up in price, now all of a sudden you're going to have Chase saying, oh, this is like cash. You're going to have the United States saying, well, do you have a money transfer license to sell those marbles? I'm going to go to jail with the rest of the criminals out there because making money and doing business on your own is bad. That's bad. Only big companies are allowed to do it, not you. Down, boy. So as I put in the title, that means plaintiffs and the people won, Chase 0 as of now. I love hearing that score. It is an amazing score. Fool Money said Apple Card is backed by Goldman Sachs. That is correct. Apple Card is backed by Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs backs other crypto startups as well. That is weird. Yes, that is a way for them to be in the crypto game without necessarily being in the crypto game. P-Man Van said, why would anyone not want people to use their card for everything? Exactly. Well, we all know it is a money game. Kasha said, Bitcoin is a great hedge for failing fiats. We are starting to see that right now. It's becoming very interesting seeing it. Today we're seeing that, I guess. All right, last but not least, we talked about this guy as well, I think about a week or two ago, but he's back in the news actually with an interview you can see on CoinDesk. Meet the ICO pumper who makes his living manipulating crypto markets. That is correct. Again, it's a whole video right now, or right now it's a 23-minute video on CoinDesk, but they said they will be releasing the whole video soon. But again, this is Alexei and Andreyunin, a 20-year-old college student from Moscow who became a sensation after he quite openly told CoinDesk how his company was helping little-known token projects get traction via inflated trading volumes. Now, we've been talking about inflated trading volumes for years. If you actually trade, you can see it. It's just, and one of the reasons why we already knew is because if you remember back in the Poloniex days when they had their troll box, which is basically their chat box, you can talk, the trading volume they had didn't match the amount of people who were in the troll box 24/7. All right. I mean, they did have a lot of volume back then, but that was with that and a few other a few other exchanges out there. If you were to go to Telegram channels or you were to go to the Bitcoin forum and talk to people or Reddit, I mean, you got an idea of how many people are trading on these platforms. The numbers just weren't adding up, right? But again, he spoke with CoinDesk about the business of market manipulation and explained why he believes the current market rules make manipulation inevitable. To summarize it, basically, he was saying that he was working at a startup where he was helping to inflate the prices of the exchange because that was the only way coin market would list them. And of course, to most people in cryptocurrency, you don't have a real project until you're on coin market cap, right? But he was saying, hey, coin market cap at the time required the daily volume as high as $100,000 to list a token. And those exchanges gave us pennies, absolutely nothing, like $100, $200, $300. And that was not so bad. That was right after our ICO. So he was saying, hey, I was working for legitimate projects. We didn't have the money to be listed on CoinMarketCap because of their rules and because of the whole industry only believing coins or projects to be real. They were listed on that. So they had no choice but to inflate the volume, which at the time and still now clearly is not illegal. So he said, once they realized they need to fake it to make it, which a lot of people in the space has done, Andrean and his school friend created their first trading bot. He basically told people how they did the trading, how one bot would buy it, one bot would sell it, or vice versa. He then realized how big this was, and that's when he decided to create his own company of only doing market manipulation. And of course, he says since then he's helped about 28 projects right here. And the company's name GotBit. He's helped 28 projects look legitimate. He said right now he thinks there are at least 100 companies at a minimum that can offer the marketing services that they need. And I get what he's saying. This is a double-edged sword because how many times will people say, well, I haven't seen you post here. I haven't seen you on I haven't seen an article on Cointelegraph. Or in this case, we haven't seen you on CoinMarketCap. You must not be a real project. You don't have enough people. You don't have this. And then there's a guy who comes along and is like, all right, well, we'll give you the fake volume, something we saw a couple years ago when it came to a lot of YouTubers and podcasters in the space. I mean, it's literally people with 15,000 views and like 6 comments and 10 likes. And it's just like, oh, wait, these numbers aren't adding up. But those were the same people who ended up, snowballing to do even bigger things because they fake it till they make it. Some people believe in that. I haven't been a big fan of it, but clearly it's been working in the crypto space. And I don't know, is this good for the space or isn't it? I don't know. But how about you tell us in the comment section, and we'll use that for our free cryptic coin question. Is market manipulation good for Bitcoin or good for these companies? Do they have any other choice? Because as this guy puts it, if you're a new company on the block and you can't get on, we know that. How hard is it to get on exchange? Do you have $1 million, $10 million? Oh, well, I guess you can't get listed on Binance, right? Well, if that's the case, should we have a worthless project or a fake project or have a project do something just to get the money to be listed when maybe they're not ready? Maybe they are. I don't know. Tell us in the comment section. Until then, last couple of quick comments. Dr. Keisha Wydell, how are you doing? Haven't seen in a while. Welcome back. P-Man Van said, come on now, justifying your shady tactics. I'm sure he made a crap ton of money doing this. Oh, he definitely made a ton of money doing this. But we'll see if it looks like it's going to continue, right? We'll see. Other than that, what's going on in Bitcoin? Other than that, that's the show for today. Thanks for watching as always. Thanks for the continued support. Make sure you like and share this video, and I will see you all tomorrow. Cheers.